Hi friends, let's spend a slow morning together. I'll be taking you along a typical morning in my life as someone who tries to instill slow living practices, particularly in the mornings. Mornings are my favorite for taking things easy. I love the silence and peace that I feel like you don't get at any other time of the day. I love the little rituals. And I'll be shooting this on my Google Pixel 8 Pro to see how well it holds up, so if there are any visual or audio issues, I hope it doesn't ruin the experience too much. The issue with this camera is that I can't see myself, so I have no idea if I'm out of focus, if I'm in the frame. Fingers crossed here. But I'm going to make breakfast. I have these leftover bagels from a couple of weekends ago that I froze, and then I just leave them out overnight so that they defrost, and then I throw them in the toaster. Gonna have that, and I also have fruit. I have some pineapple here. The pineapple from Whole Foods, so good. It's a little bit more expensive when you get it in this and it's in a plastic container, but it's so good and very convenient in mornings. And then you probably hear Logan screaming. I have to feed the kitties as well. If I didn't mention it already, I am using the Google Pixel 8 Pro to film today's vlog, so I'm really excited to see how it ends up looking. You let me know if you see a big difference. I looked at the preview really quickly and I can see a big difference, so I'm very excited. I also wanted to give a quick skincare update while I'm waiting for my bagel to get toasted. I'm sure you can see a much more accurate portrayal of what my skin looks like, so maybe it looks worse because you haven't been seeing it accurately before, but it's actually getting better. I don't have any current active acne happening, and I noticed that this has actually been happening for the 2 years that I've been living in this house. So I kind of put two and two together, and I thought maybe it's the water. People have said that when they move to a different location, the water, they're just not used to it, and so their skin is not used to it, and then they start breaking out. So I bought a filter for my shower head, and fingers crossed, y'all, I've been using it for about 2-3 days, and I haven't had any active acne pop up since then, but fingers crossed that this does something, because I am using an oral treatment, I'm using a topical treatment, and my face still looks the way that it does, so hopefully this will be the extra push for me to not get any new pimples and stuff like that. But anyway, I don't know if anybody was interested in that. I'm gonna make my breakfast now. I'm very much looking forward to this pineapple. I also give a little piece of pineapple to my bunny, because of course. So I definitely need to get myself one of those, I don't know, they're kind of like clip-ons to your phone with a little mirror on it to see what's going on when I record, because I can't see a thing. I just recorded this twice. First one, my head was completely cut off, and then the second one was completely out of focus. I hope it's not out of focus right now, but I was saying while I was having my breakfast that I like to have this time to be a completely 100% screen-free time. I know a lot of people kind of scroll on their phones when they're having a meal, and I actually do that during lunchtime, but in the morning time, first thing, I like to have no screens, no sounds, no noises, just kind of enjoying the silence and the peacefulness of the morning. It's my favorite time of the day, and I actually really like silence. So I try to embrace that as much as I can before all of the chaos of the day. And yeah, that's exactly what I did. I also gave my little bit of pineapple to my rabbit, and I think I'm gonna go in the office now and read a little bit. I should actually give you a reading update. Okay, so reading update. As you know, or maybe you don't know, this might be your first video, but I read every single morning for 10 minutes as part of my slow living morning routine. It's just a way for me to ensure that I read every single day, because I have a goal of just reading more in general. Last year, I hardly read anything. I think I've read maybe 2 or 3 books, and 2 out of the 3 books were short stories. So I definitely wanted to improve this year, and reading 10 minutes every morning has helped me so much. So that's what I have been doing, and that has been helping me read at least 1 book per month. But I have been jumping around books these past few months. I started reading this book as soon as it came out. It's called Never Whistle at Night. And it's essentially an anthology. It's an indigenous dark fiction anthology. It has my favorite author in here, Stephen Graham Jones, and some other really notable native authors, and they're really dark and eerie. And the title got me right from the start because Never Whistle at Night is kind of like this reference to an unspoken rule when you're living out in certain areas, especially within the native culture. And it's just like dark and it's eerie, and it's essentially like never whistle at night because you don't want the response that you think that you want. And so it's just very spooky. I love spooky books, and this book has been really, really good. I think I'm more than halfway finished with it, and all of the stories have been really deeply disturbing. They're more disturbing than like horror genre. They're disturbing. They're unsettling. So it's really good, but I stopped reading it because I picked up this book that I've had, I think, since I was in high school. I don't even have the cover, like the cover flap for it anymore, but it's an Edgar Allan Poe collection. It's his complete tales and poems, which is why it's so ginormous and like yellowing. I've had it for a very long time. But the reason why I picked this up is, first of all, I haven't picked this up since I was in high school, and it's just been moving along from house to apartment my entire life. So it was nice to pick this up, but also I am watching on Netflix The House of the Fall of Usher. I think I said that right. It's Mike Flanagan's latest TV show, latest TV series, limited series, whatever you want to call it nowadays. And it is largely based on several of Edgar Allan Poe's stories. While I'm watching it, I want to read the stories and see all of the little clues and all of the little references that are in the show. I'm only 2 episodes in, but yeah, I've been trying to read this every morning instead of reading this one every morning. I'll eventually get back into this one, especially because it's almost done. But while I'm watching the show, I have been reading this, and it has been so much fun. I used to be a huge Edgar Allan Poe fan when I was in high school, and reading his stories back, it's like, whoa, the language is different. So take some time to read through it, but there's a level of satisfaction when you read one of his stories and you understand and you can follow what's going on because the language is different, and it's nice. It's nice to kind of like puzzle through not just the puzzle within the story, but puzzle through the way that he writes. It's very interesting, and it's been a fun time. So if that inspires you to get back into it, also The House of Fall of Usher has been so good. Once again, 2 episodes in, but Mike Flanagan is great with these spooky stories, and it has been super good. I've heard that it is just as good as Hill House, his first season of his limited series. I will have to wait and see if I agree with that, because so far I don't agree, but I'm only 2 episodes in, so we'll see. But that is my reading update. Oh my gosh. The story I'm in the middle of reading right now is The Murders in the Rue Morgue, and it's pretty long, but it is fascinating. It's almost like a murder mystery, at least the way that it's panning out right now. And apparently it has a lot of references in the show. So I have been enjoying like the little tidbits that I've noticed, like people's names and stuff like that. Very cool. Now it is the best time of the morning. It is time for coffee. Whoops, I forgot my tripod. Not gonna lie, I miss using my espresso machine, but I do not have any espresso grounds. These are all like the larger grounds. So I need to pick some of that up. I'm just trying not to be wasteful and like not use what I have, or use what I have rather. Let's see, what mug should I use? I know a lot of people love this one, which is from Lively Ghosts, by the way. I get that question so often, but I used that recently. Actually, I think I used the Ghost recently, so let's use it. Why not? I have been using this creamer. I just couldn't find any seasonal creamers when I went to the grocery store, so I just got this French vanilla one. It's really good. It's just very sweet for me. So I use just 1 tablespoon, nothing more, and it's pretty sweet. First we bloom, just wet that and then let it sit for a few seconds, and then we gradually pour over. I especially love that this pour over is very small, so it's perfect for 1 or 2 cups of coffee at a time. Oh my gosh, I completely forgot to show you I just recently did my nails for Halloween, and it's like, it's not black, but it's very, very dark gray. I don't know if anybody cares about that. All right, let me compost this. Oh my gosh, this smells so good. I'm using the Panera dark roast. They have bags that you can order and, you know, buy for home. Let's see if I actually have a bag. Yeah, I have a bunch of these from a campaign that we did. They're really, really good, and the dark roast just reminds me of like when you go to a diner, it just has that distinct, delicious smell. All right, that's the coffee. A moment for the cup. Again, from Lively Ghosts. Cheers. So life has been pretty strange. Sometimes it's so weird to continue on with life when there is just too much going on. But what I have been leaning on to in my personal life is art. Like you all probably know, I've been talking about it a lot in my vlogs or in my other videos, my slow living videos, and I'm trying really, really hard to lean into that as much as possible because it is something that brings me joy, and it's something that I have kind of revisited from when I was much, much younger, from well over 10 years ago, and I want to continue reconnecting with this side of me. I feel like it's important, and I didn't realize that it was important for a really, really long time to stay connected to things that, you know, ignite something within you. And I just haven't been doing art in a really, really long time. I haven't done art since college, a form of art one would call writing, and I stopped writing in my last year of my creative writing degree. And it was very tough last year for my creativity, and then I just dropped it since. So I'm trying to lean into it as much as I can these days, and it is the one thing that is giving me a little bit of hope these past few weeks. So that's what I've been doing. Some forms that I have been, you know, partaking in when it comes to art is Inktober. So I was doing Inktober really, really well for just about half of October, and then I started to notice that the prompts were not really inspiring me. They were actually kind of limiting me. I want to do daily sketches. I want to do daily pieces just to get back into the swing of creating and creating art, but the prompts were not inspiring me to want to pick up the pen and pencil, paper, whatever, and start creating. So I kind of dropped it. I don't know if I'll pick it back up, but I will start sketching daily again, just in the way that I prefer to do it. But it was a good experiment, and I'm also going to be starting The Artist's Way. If you've ever heard of that, it's this book that has like, it's apparently the way for you to kind of reinvigorate your creativity. So we'll see how that goes. Let me know if you're interested in seeing more about it. But yeah, I'm going to be starting that soon, and I did my first piece. I don't know if I mentioned that since my last video where I was talking about art, where I wanted to put the art piece over by the bar cart area. I'll actually show you what it looks like right now, but I finished the piece. It did not go up over there. I'll explain. Okay, so this is what it looks like right now. No, I did not create that piece. So what actually ended up happening was that it was my birthday, and a weekend before my birthday, we went to this art museum that is dedicated 100% fully to wildlife animal art. And the museum was one of the best museums I have ever been to, and they did like a whole dedicated exhibit on Ezra Tucker. So this is an Ezra Tucker piece, and this was my favorite piece from the exhibit at the museum. It's essentially just two wolves. I don't know if you can see the one in the back over there, and if you can see that little light there, essentially what this piece is about are the wolves kind of looking down at humans as they kind of like camp out for the evening, and they're just observing. They're just looking and making sure that they're safe, checking it out, and you know, just a wolf's curiosity, right? So I just thought it was an incredible piece, and Ian got it for me for my birthday. So that is the piece that we ended up putting over here instead of the piece that I ended up coming up with, which I don't actually love. I really, really dislike it, but everybody has been telling me that it's great. I'll show it to you in a second. But I still plan on doing the piece over here, the giant piece from this end to this end, myself. That's going to be a very, very long project, but I am going to be starting soon. But let me show you the piece that I ended up finishing. This is the piece. I don't want to pull it out, but it's essentially just a fish. I don't like how it turned out. The only thing that I like about it is the face. Let me zoom in there. I love the face so much, but everything else I do not love, and so this is its home, just in the corner over here. It was my first acrylic piece, I think, ever, so it's okay for me to not be completely happy with it. I think I'm more so proud that I finished it, but I'm moving on to my next pieces and just building up my confidence with acrylic, and then I'll start working on that large piece for the kitchen. Was this where I was standing before? Anyway, yeah, so the new art piece that I'm gonna start working on, this one is much smaller. It's going to be kind of like my experiment to see if I can do it well. It's going to be a landscape. I'm going to try and do like a fall foliage landscape and see how well I do with that. And if I do well and I continue to practice doing fall foliage landscapes, I'm going to eventually make that giant piece for that corner over there be one massive fall foliage landscape piece. I'm very excited. I really love seeing landscape pieces, especially when it has all of those bright, vibrant colors of fall. So yeah, wish me luck. But the next thing, did I spill this coffee? I see coffee everywhere. Hold on. Anyway, I don't know what I did, but I cleaned it up. Anyway, the next thing that I have been working on when it comes to art is the newsletter. I have been going on a complete 100% revamp, refresh on all of my social medias, but I think you don't see it as obviously on my Instagram and on my TikTok because those videos are very structured and they're very uniform, so most people won't notice that I'm making slight changes there, but I am. And I think the biggest change I have been making is on my newsletter and of course on my YouTube. But in my newsletter, I did a complete different structure this week, a whole refresh, and I'm kind of structuring it in a way where one newsletter is sort of like one deep dive, and each deep dive is one tiny little area of slow living. So each week I'll go into a deep dive of whatever topic that it is that has to do with slow living. This week's letter with the refresh was all about autumn, and y'all know that I love seasonal slow living, so I was talking about autumn and how it's a reflection of brevity and change and something that we should embrace in life. I threw in some art pieces with some explanations underneath it, but the art pieces kind of depict what I was talking about in the letter. I also threw in a bunch of resources, a bunch of tips, a bunch of links, articles that I have been reading, all sorts of things, things that I have been using in my personal life that has to do with autumn and slow living, just everything curated about autumn and slow living in this particular letter. And I really am proud of it. I will link it down below so you can just check it out. If you're not subscribed to the newsletter, you can just read it. But I'm really proud of it, and I'm excited to continue doing letters like deep dives. I feel like it feels like a curation. It feels like an exhibit almost, and it's very fun to put them together. I took my longest amount of time ever writing this newsletter, and it was the best time. It was the best 2 hours ever. So yeah, I'm excited about that as well. I think those are the only artsy type of things that I am kind of focusing on right now. I did also completely revamp my Slow Morning Diaries hub on my Notion, and I love it. I don't know if y'all are interested in seeing it because it's very content creator heavy, but it's a whole board on my Notion now that is so much better than what it was before, and I'm really excited to use it every single day. I have been using it every single day, but I feel like that counts when it comes to art and creativity because I spent a lot of time customizing it and making it look good, and now I can use it for my productivity, which I always love. I love that. After this little art talk, I jumped on my walking pad and got right to work, so this is where the morning vlog ends. Thank you so much for being here, and I'll talk to you in next week's video.